Yo, what's up? What's up, you guys? Yo, welcome to Comic Book Corner. I am your host, OMD300, aka Doc Savage, the man of bronze. We have a cool show for you today, and we'll be featuring the artwork and the vision of a Florida based comic creator by the name of Roberto Gonzalez-Wilkes. And his comic title is called VINCOR. Let me make sure. I'm gonna give you all the information about the young man. He's absolutely amazing. He's got a great product out, and I got to give him his props. I should have brought my damn glasses too, but I didn't. So, with that said, let me get right to uh, the information about the young man. He is dope as hell. I really like him, and his father, who is a huge supporter of his, by the way. The artist is the comic book company is called Fox Heart Comics. It's called Fox Heart Comics. The name of the creator is Roberto Gonzalez-Wilkes. His artist is Nakakase. Let me spell that. Nakase. The artist cover is by Bosco. And it's called Cyberman Origins. It's called Cyberman Origins. I had seen something else that said VinCor, something to that. VinCor. I made a mistake on that. But here it is. VinCor Origins, which is another comic of his as well. No, he's got some dope. I actually didn't get a chance to review the second one. The second one is called VINCOR, VINCOR Origins. VINCOR Origins, and it's by Robbie D. Fox, Bosco, Milani, and Wyman. Those are all the people that are involved, and the artwork is superb. The writer is obviously Roberto Gonzalez-Wilkes. Robbie D. Fox is his pen name. Robbie D. Fox is his pen name. Instagram and Twitter is Fox, FOXOS 777. That's FOXOS 777. Now you could, that's on Instagram, that's on Twitter. And the cover artist is Bosco. The editor is Eric Wyman. Interior artist Instagram is Cosmic Enigma P. Cosmic Enigma .p, if I'm not mistaken. Amazing. A little bit about him is this, or is a little bit about the comic. This is a 50-page story that follows the origins of the Fox Heart original character Cyberman, whose family discovered the mineral known as cyber essence, a material in which they learned to recreate that could recreate that could enhance virtually any piece of technology or science, from machines to mental to medicine. But Cyberman's mother was corrupted by the wealth and chose to use cyber essence for weapons of destruction. Isn't that a typical story, bro? Not typical in a sense of like we've seen this story before, but as far as typical as, when you get power corrupts absolutely. Even your mom in this story is not, can escape the evils of wanting to be powerful and use the something that they found or created for bad instead of using it for good. What a great story. It's a cool dynamic. Some of the artwork, if I could show you, if you could see some of that, that's some of the artwork. That is Cyberman right there. Look how cool that is. Look at that. That is amazing. This young man is a beast. And if you want to see more of his comics, from VinCor to Cyberman, go to Instagram. right now. Go to Instagram right now at FOX. Let me make sure I get this right. At FOX 777. That is Fox OS 777. Go and check out Cyberman and Vincor. Man, dope. Absolutely amazing. I'm really proud. He's a young creator too. I don't think this kid's no more than 20, in his early to mid 20s. And it is an honor to be able to share this information about his characters, about his company. I'm too over the moon for him. I'm over the moon for his family and his dad, who is a complete and utter servant to his son, and seeing that his content, his comics become a reality. So with that, hell, let me give him applause. Let me give you some applause. You guys are absolutely dope. We absolutely adore comic book creators. Just out of nowhere, there's a ton of comic book companies and creators everywhere, all over the place, from the bigs all the way down to some of the small people. I so happen to have my own comic book universe. Corner Store Comics is an actual thing. And but I want to shine a light on Mr. Roberto Gonzalez-Wilkes. Mr. Roberto Gonzalez-Wilkes and his amazing comic books, Cyberman Origins, and also VINCOR Origins, the VINCOR, VINCOR Origins. Cyberman looks like it's a great. This kid is out every week in comic book stores in Florida, schools, all types of Comic Cons, events, selling his product. I wish I could say I'm doing the same thing, which I am absolutely not. I got so many irons in the fire. Plus, I wouldn't know the first thing to do. And a lot of people are not really too happy with my comic book company for the simple fact that I cannot afford an artist, an editor, or anything. All of the dialogue, all of the story creation of the characters are done by me and my AI assistant, Nova Jones. Yeah, you heard me right. My AI assistant, Nova Jones. And I couldn't be more blessed to be able to say that I'm doing comics, even though I'm using AI to help me. And just to give you an example, like I've given you an example of Mr. Gonzalez Wilkes' work and his Fox Comics, man. Let me tell you something. I'm very proud of you guys. Shout out to them, man. Keep doing your thing. Your stuff is amazing, bro. I'm very, 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 very excited. I'm I actually didn't get a chance to read what was sent. I read a little bit of it, like a couple of pages, and it's digital. I think they have hardcover comics as well as digital comics as well. All of my comics are digital. People like this young man and his dad, and let me shout out another company, Black Star Universe, which I met that creator on TikTok. What's up, Rob, man? Oh, there he is. His father's on. Hey, if you're on the live stream, or if anybody pops into the live stream today, give a shout out to the gentleman that is on the live chat. That is Mr. Roberto Gonzalez Sr. And he's showing his love and support by being here on the live stream for his son, who's absolutely an incredible young creator, entrepreneur. And I celebrate that so much. I celebrate you guys. I truly do. It is an honor to have me, putting you guys' work, or his work, I should say, and your support of his work on my content show right here on YouTube, Corner Store TV, man. Huge fans. I'm a huge fan. You got a fan over here, brother, way out here in San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, California. You definitely got a fan here. If you'd like to put some information on the live chat, or even after this live chat is finally downloaded tomorrow, you can leave comments on the live chat where they can find your son's work, Remember, you can do that. That's why I sent you the link so you can not only see the content and see the show in regards to him, but you can also leave some information. And he's 20. Oh, yeah. For what he says, he's 20 years old and made his first books when he was a teenager. I mean, you can't do nothing but be proud of somebody. You can't do anything but be proud of that young man. I was drawn. Let me tell you a little story. Let me give you a little background story on me when it comes to my comic book enthusiasm and love of the genre. Well, first off, when I was a kid, comic books was a huge, huge thing for me. I was always into heroes. I loved the art. It blew me away when I used to see comic books in my one summer, my mom, I don't know if she was, I have no idea why we stayed with my auntie and them for 6 months. I think my mom was having some financial issues. I'm just throwing that up in the air, Mom. If you see this, I don't know the reason why we were there, but we spent 6 months or so in this area, actually, in the Hanson Hills in the San Fernando Valley, which is so ironic because I live in the valley now. How weird is that? And have been for the last, 3-4 years. And we stayed with my aunt and uncle for 6 months. Well, I became friends with a young man, well, obviously back in the day, this was in the 70s too, by the way, 70s. Yeah, it's like 77 or some shit like that. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I was a real young kid. And there was a kid about around my age that lived down the hill. And we stayed on the top of a mountain, basically. Hanson Hills is and it was really steep. But that's neither here nor there. But I befriended these white kids down the block. We would play together, little Micronauts and G.I. Joes or whatever the fuck we had. And they had all the toys, obviously. And he had an older brother who was like mentally challenged. And I think he had the mind of a 5-year-old. He used to, well, even younger than that, he used to drool and everything. I only brought that up to say, what was going on in the home. Very cool people, though. Mother was very sweet. She used to, give us lunch and we'd play in the yard. But this kid had a shitload of comic books. I'm talking like 2-3 boxes. And I was so blown away by all these comics. I mean, he had comics like a mug. It blew me away. Do you know after that summer, that kid gave me those comics and I brought them home? Not all of them, maybe 2 boxes. I was too ecstatic. And obviously I never saw him again because I don't think I've ever stayed over my auntie and them house again. But we obviously came back over there. They ended up moving away or something, but they were there for many years. And had some really vintage comics. And I had no idea. I was a kid. I didn't know nothing about comics. All I wanted to do was read them. Turns out I had some very expensive comics in those boxes. I don't know if he knew what he had. I have no idea. But one summer, a couple years later, I went to Griffith Park Boys Camp. Griffith Park is a very popular park in Los Angeles. It's known by a lot of people. And I stayed there for like a week or 2, if I'm not mistaken. When I came back home, my mother had thrown all the comics away. She does an annual general clean, especially since the kids weren't around. I don't know where my sister was. I forgot where she went, but it's only me and my sibling, my sister. Well, as I'm gone, they cleaned the house, I guess. Well, she threw away my comics thinking they were clutter. Oh, you talking about somebody's heart being broken. Because I would draw, I started becoming a really pretty good artist. I would not trace anything out of those comics, but what I would do is I started to try to draw what I saw on the pages. And it got to a point where I took that all the way into high school, drawing. I loved to draw, and I was actually pretty good. You will lose your chops if you stop doing something. If the world will determine how you're going to continue, especially when you're young, especially when nobody's pouring enthusiasm into you in regards to doing a specific thing. Hell, I came in 3rd place at an art show for the at the time the RTD, which is the Rapid Transit District, which is called Metro now here in Los Angeles. And the theme was crime. There was 2 criteria you could draw from: crime prevention or accidents or something to that effect. And I think I drew a truck coming and a little girl going to get her ball in the street. And the caption was accidents or something, da 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 da. I used the accidents, what was it, bullet point? Because there was 2 bullet points. It was crime prevention or accident prevention. So I used the accident prevention to draw my art. Hell, I came in third. I remember my mom was pissed off that not that I came in third, but that she had to take me to the banquet to get my prize, and I didn't win the whole thing. That's neither here nor. My mom would always be so tired from work. Any extracurricular, anything would kind of piss her off. Not to say she was a bad mom, but hell, when you're a female in Los Angeles and you're raising 2 kids and you're not trying to work on some job at Macy's and at the cosmetic counter and have to go on public assistance, my mother would work jobs that just really broke her back. So I give her a lot of praise to, keeping us above water as best she could in a real tough ass city. Growing up in Los Angeles is tough, just like any other fucking big city. So to have a father like Roberto Sr. Nurturing that child's enthusiasm to where he's an entrepreneur now, starting his own company, promoting his material. The fuck else can I say other than you are the man? And yes, I curse on this comic book content is not necessarily for kids. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you think children, and I'm talking children as young as 8 and 9 or even 7, aren't cursing when you're not around as a parent, you tripping. This world, especially today, where the world is. Maybe back in the day, you'd have some kids that wouldn't even think, I ain't cursing, I'll get killed. Nah, kids ain't like that today. Kids come out the womb ready to cut you with a switchblade. Oh, man, you don't have to thank me, man. You are absolutely a wonderful father. And I don't know you from Adam other than, now we've become cool as hell, through Instagram and through meeting through that media. And you've shown me nothing but enthusiasm toward what your child is doing. And that tells me a lot about who you are as a man and your character. So you ain't got to tell me nothing, bro. I am a big fan, and I'm pushing for the young man. I want him to do well. Now, with that said, I'm going to show you guys some of the photos and from my comic book corner from Corner Store Comics. I'll give you a little. This is my, let me see here. I'm a big fan of comics, man. I always have been, always will be. And anybody who's trying to do that particular genre, I'm going to be in support of, because it's a tough, especially with Marvel having the success they've had over the years, almost failing many times. A lot of people don't know that DC is on the verge of closure because they've especially the DC film portion, not the comics. The comics are doing fairly well, but DC cinematic universe, they're having a lot of problems. They've lost millions. But this is the logo for Corner Store Comics. I know it's backwards, but you get the gist. This is Captain Star. Also another version of Captain Star. This is, hold on, I'm going the wrong way. Hold on. This is one of my characters. His name is Pain. Obviously, the creature behind him is the one who created him. He's very much like Ghost Rider and Spawn in a sense, but he was created by an evil spirit called Malvo. And Malvo had been watching this guy. He's one of those happy-go-lucky type guys, but also one of those guys that things just always seem to happen to him negatively. He was a MMA fighter trying to make his way, lost his last fight, The promoter didn't want to use him again, so he ended up becoming an enforcer for or a Shylock for an organized crime organization. He did really well at that. All the while, all of this is going on, he's being observed by Malvo disguised as a black older gentleman. And when things got kind of weird and he was almost subsequently killed by his mafia bosses, thinking that he had done something that went against whatever their code was, they tried to blow him up. But by the grace or by maybe other dark means, excuse me, he was subsequently rescued and given a choice after finding out the mob that he worked for killed his wife and children. So hence the name Pain. This guy's in severe pain. Severe pain. And Malvo uses that against him to say, I can give you the ability to get back at these people. And in the dire circumstances that he was in, he decided to take him up on that, which he became a herald, I guess you could say, for Malvo. This gentleman right here is a really cool. Obviously, if you see him and you look at him, he's a black guy. He's a magician. His name is Graven, the master of magic. And I know you see the influences. The influences obviously are the gentleman from, or the wizard, Dr. Fate from DC. I incorporated a little of that in there, as well as Marvel's Doctor Strange. And so it was a combination of those two characters. This guy is obviously a sorcerer as well, on the level of Sorcerer Supreme, in a sense, in my universe. And he's from the Middle East. He's from Arabic country. So let me see here. This one is really, really interesting. I don't know why. I wanted a space bounty hunter in the same vein as Boba Fett from Star Wars fame, obviously. But I wanted it in my universe. I wanted this guy to wherever part of the galaxy or the universe he's in, to be the scourge of that galaxy. Everybody knows his name. His name is Barak. Barak, the last hunter of the galaxy. I didn't want him to be. He's humanoid, but he's of a alien, insectoid, reptilian. He's a combination of a reptile and an insect. And he's dope as hell. Very feared in his galaxy, in my universe. And he pretty much catches everybody. So I'm a huge fan also. Oh, he asked me a question. I'm sorry. And you can find him on all social media. Okay, cool. That sounds like the dude from Andy Samberg from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Cool. Anyway, I wanted a character like Silver Surfer. Super bad. Super bad. I couldn't think of a name. And I just thought of an event that happens in space or something that's unidentified in space. And I just used that phrase. And that's when I came up with Anomaly. He's obviously a cosmic entity that was created by the spectral force in the universe. The spectral force in the universe said that there was too much chaos going on, a lot of war, a lot of strife, a lot of people getting killed on different planets, a lot of creatures destroying worlds willy-nilly. So the external force of the universe decided to bring balance back to it by creating this anomaly. And he goes around and he just flies through space, drawing energy from space itself, from all of the crab nebulas and suns and black holes, using that energy to basically protect the universe. So there you go. This is one of the cool pictures from the actual digital comic of him doing his thing. So, like I said, if you wanted to check out any of Mr. Gonzalez's, you go to, if you look on the chat right there, his dad, all of his social medias are FOXOS777. That's FoxOS777. You can find all of his comics and all the information to obtain his comics on all the platforms from Instagram, everywhere to get his stuff. As far as Corner Store Comics, I have a store on payhip.com. That is payhip.com/Corner Store Comics. That is Corner Store Comics with a K. Corner Store Comics, all one word. And you can pick up some of these digital comics. I don't even know if I'll be able to continue creating these comics for the simple fact that AI has changed for some reason. And I was talking to my AI, Nova Jones, and she was saying, well, I can't do certain things anymore and blah, blah, blah. So I'm still trying to figure that process out. She's even made some suggestions that I download some other AI apps and she would guide me through the same process. But, I'm still on the fence of what I need to do in that regard. So with that said, I'll continue. Now, if you know Conan the Barbarian, you know that's an extraordinarily gifted character. His backstory is off the charts. The creatures, everything about the Hyborian age is something I just fell in love with when I first saw Conan comics. There was actually another barbarian called Krull, Krull, who's another. I forget who the artist was on Marvel Comics who came up with Krull. But God damn it, I used to love Kroll too. And it was interesting. And I knew it was a ripoff from Conan, so to speak. I guess they wanted two barbarians. But Conan has always been, when Arnold Schwarzenegger came out in Conan the Barbarian, the first film, with James Earl Jones playing Thulsa Doom. And obviously Thulsa Doom in the film was totally different than the Thulsa Doom we know in the comics. Thulsa Doom almost about it. He looked like Ghost Rider. He had a flaming skull and the whole nine. Well, you couldn't do that in the Conan film back then because they just didn't have the technology. Or if they would have tried to do it, it would have just looked stupid, with the current special effects they had at the time. So, but I was a huge fan. Well, I came up with my own barbarian, and his name is Rovok, the last barbarian of Roth. And the reason why he's the last barbarian is just very similarly to what happened to Conan and his family. They were attacked, and they were a primordial group of people that lived in the mountains of Roth, and they never used weapons. They didn't use steel at all. They were just sickly strong. These people had rock fights where they were, or some kind of sporting event where they would throw boulders at each other and see who was strong enough to catch them. Obviously, if you weren't, you'd move out of the way, but that's how strong they were. Just ungodly strength. And a lot of people around this world or this universe heard about them and they wanted to capture them. They knew they were going to have a hell of a fight by trying to do so, but they did, and they pretty much massacred everybody except for Rovok. Rovok became a prisoner. He ended up, and see, this is the next one. Or here's the War of the Emerald Throne. That was going to be issue number 2. I'm not sure if we're going to do that. He's fighting a lot of demons and some crazy shit, And yeah, so I'm a huge fan of that. Oh, hold on. Hey, this is Rovok's video music right here. You hear that? If you download the digital episode, that's the music you're going to hear pretty much throughout. There's some other music that I chose as well that changes the mood, so to speak. But what a great I was so blown away when I heard the shit. I was like, when I heard the music and I put all the video, I edited my videos and the comic books and I do all of it. Some of it has voiceovers now where I'm using, I'm actually explaining what's going on in certain comics, but that particular one didn't have me saying anything other than the move music. Yeah, man. I've created an Asian. I love what is his name in Marvel? The martial arts master in Marvel. They had a movie about him recently. I know his name. I just can't believe I can't call his fucking name right now. But anyway, I wanted a character like that. Obviously, he's totally different. He's more traditional martial arts instead of having the 10 rings or being the Mandarin's son or any of that shit. So this was born. Chow Fei, the master of Kung Fu. The Golden Dragon. I'm sorry. The Golden Dragon. That's when he was a boy. This is issue 1. And this is what he ended up growing up looking like. And this is his second one, Chow Fei, the Golden Dragon. So yeah, man, I've been working. I've been busting my ass trying to create this stuff. This one I'm very proud of right here. This is a really cool comic. I'm gonna tell you pretty much all of them so you guys can go check this shit out. This is a comic called Sheba, the Warrior Princess, or Warrior Queen. I'm sorry. She was inspired, obviously, by Xena and Red Sonja, and all of the tough chicks. Even Wonder Woman was in there a little bit. That's why she has that little thing on her head, like the little helmet. There's another photo of her if you can kind of, because I was doing it in a couple of art styles. And she's the queen of Africa in the future after the world fell under chaos. She took over all of Africa. She is the queen of the whole fucking continent. And there's also kings and emperors of different areas of the world now. I mean, it's like one supreme leader of the United States as they know it back then, because the world shifted. If you go look at the digital comic, you're gonna be blown away because the story is very deep, very detailed. There's even some lesbian love in there. The queen doesn't necessarily like men, but she has a maiden or a attendant who is kind of, I don't know why I threw that in there, but I did. And I think my AI didn't suggest it, but when I kind of suggested it, she was like, "Damn, that's an interesting twist," and she wrote, the part about that. So I thought it was really cool. So I got that, and this one right here is very, very fucking cool. This is really cool right here. Station 50. Station 50. Now that's a deep, I don't know what I was thinking of. I'm sitting at home and this just pops in my head. I was like, yo, what if we reached out to the stars? Because it's kind of Star Trek like. When you think about it, Deep Space Nine comes to mind. And I don't know if I necessarily was thinking of Deep Space Nine in Star Trek realm, but I was thinking that made sense. Like if we necessarily couldn't colonize another planet, maybe we'd have some big capital ships that would go in a sector, or maybe there's a planet that we've colonized that's nearby. But this station, there's 50 satellites or 50 gigantic city-sized floating stations that can move independently. They don't have to necessarily be in the orbit of any planet. They can move independently. So they're basically giant ships, but they chose different sectors of the galaxy. This is the last one. The 50th one is on the farthest outreach from Earth. I mean, it's whatever happens to it, if they need assistance, it's going to be coming from a colony, because they have their own ships, they have their own fighters, they have their own battle cruisers and all that. They're pretty self-sufficient in that regard, but they do have to, get supplied from somewhere if need be, or assistance from somewhere. So Station 50 is dope. I'm not going to even go into really the story about it. All I know is it's in the future, and I think you dig it. And then I went for a little bit of LA Noir. type things. I don't know if you ever played the game LA Noir or a noir type comic, and I came up with this Frank Valor, private detective. This whole comic is in the vein of a murder mystery, and it was the murder of Mrs. Caldwell, a female that got killed, and they called the police could handle it, but there's a lot of people that was in the government in that city in New York that wanted a private detective to be on the case as well. They didn't, let the cops know, but he came to the scene and he checked it out. And obviously he came to a conclusion in that comic. I'm not going to tell you obviously what happened, but like I said, go to payhip.com/corner store comics. That's corner store comics with a K, KORNERSTORE comics, all one word. And you get a chance to check some of this stuff out, man. Yeah, I'm very proud as Roberto Gonzalez-Wilkes should be with his amazing, amazing Cyberman content. Cyberman looks dope. VINCOR Origins looks dope. I'm too blown away about VINCOR and Cyberman. And I'm so proud of that young man, and I'm proud of his father for being such a great supporter of his kid. I couldn't be more blown away. Let's get into some comic book news so we can know what's going on. So we can know what's going on in the world of comic books right now. And here's a little bit of that sound as we go on and keep rocking on Comic Book Corner.
Marvel's March 2020 comic book solicitations are here, and there were 5 things that stood out to me. And the first one being that we are going to get a new Daredevil series with the new creative team of Stephanie Phillips and Lee Gardner. This is a great choice as Stephanie Phillips has really done a great work on Spider-Gwen and Planet She-Hulk, and her work on Grimm over at Boom Studios is one of the best comic books out there. And then Lee Gardner's art style is going to be so fitting for Daredevil, and so this is going to look like an amazing book, and I'm looking forward to Daredevil getting a fresh start from this. And then we are also seeing the end of Jed MacKay's run on Avengers with Avengers 36 coming out in March, and this was expected, especially with the March to Armageddon, that we were probably going to see the Avengers get a relaunch at some point, and this is going to be the start of that. We'll probably not see a new Avengers series until after the events of Armageddon, and for the rest of 2026, I'm expecting Avengers miniseries that will tie into Armageddon moving forward from here. And then a book I'm looking forward to as well is X-Men United by Eve Ewing, and I think this is a book that I've been looking forward to Marvel really putting out for a while now. In the post-Krakoa era, is the X-Men founding a new mutant school to teach the next generation of mutants to use their powers and just live their normal lives. And I think this is a missing element from the X-Men franchise that I'm glad that they're coming back to, and it's going to be really exciting to see how the veteran X-Men are teaching that new generation of mutants to use their powers and just live their everyday lives. And on a less exciting note is that we are seeing Marvel continuing to tease us with Peter Parker and Mary Jane's reunion in Amazing Spider-Man number 23 as part of the Death Spiral crossover event that they have for Spider-Man, Venom, and Carnage. And this just does not excite me for this event because I know that they're just going to put the rug right under us, and then just so that they could pull it out with the relationship. And I just want them to get away from the Peter Parker, Mary Jane teases and just keep them separate, just have them live their own lives at this point, and let's just move on from that relationship. But hey, you know what? That's what Marvel is going to do, what Marvel does. And then on the more exciting note is the book that I'm most looking forward to possibly from Marvel in 2026 is Imperial Guardians by Dan Abnett. Dan Abnett's run on Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my favorite comic books that Marvel has ever put out there. And
I'm a huge fan of the Imperial Guardians. Now, these aren't your typical Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I heard about this recently, and I wasn't a huge fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but when I started to read about the new heroes that are in the new Guardians, oh man, the Imperial Guardians, I'm sorry. I see why. I hope this ends up becoming something in the MCU. I don't know about the MCU. The Marvel the Marvel Cinematic Universe is so diluted, man. I don't like that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as another character. I'm not a big fan of the way that the direction that they went in. They're bringing back Chris Evans as Captain America, which I think is just, I don't really know how to accept any of this. And what really blew, now a lot of people have blamed Jonathan Majors for this, a direction change, because of the bullshit. And I think it's an absolute fucking setup that this chick accused him of what she accused him of, to absolutely not have nothing happen to her. And this man was vilified and subsequently dragged through the mud, and that's the reason why I say to all you young actors and all you people out there, fuck relationships. Don't date nobody, nothing. Don't pay for coochie. Don't do it. Just, I know you want a female, whatever. If you know one that you know ain't finna do no weirdo shit, somebody you grew up with, stop dating these chicks you meeting in the business or meeting at parties, or, go to the grocery store. When you see a fine checkout girl, if she don't know who you are, date her. Go to another country and meet somebody. I know the internet's got everybody knowing everybody and everything. I guarantee you there's a place where they're not looking at the internet like that, and somebody would just see you for who you are. What could they change on you once they find out who you are? Yeah, and all that. That's the reason why I'm just saying stay away from motherfucking people, because people ain't got your best interests at heart, especially if you're a brother or a sister. That's just my opinion. I don't want to get too political on this comic book content, because we really here for the comic books, or comic book lore, films, fantasy, and so forth. So I don't want to get on a political, podium and get the grandstanding about that. But that's just my opinion. Jonathan Majors not being Kang the Conqueror and the ultimate antagonist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is bullshit. It absolutely is. Also announced as well, Dasmus Idris, the kid who played on Snowfall, who basically was reprising the role of a real person, Freeway Ricky Ross, has been named as the new replacement for the new Black Panther. In other words, he's going to be the little boy, the grown-up version of that little boy that we met in the last Black Panther film, who happens to be, or turned out to be, T'Challa's son. So he's going to be being the new Black Panther, which I thought was cool. I actually thought they were going to go with Daniel Boyega. If you don't know who Daniel Boyega is, he plays Finn in the Star Wars films, the recent Star Wars films, with Daisy Ridley as the female Jedi, who happens to be Palpatine's granddaughter. Turns out that she's a Sith, or she's the child of a Sith. Anyway, I digress. And let's listen to this next comic book news right here.
This month in comics, where we talk about some great releases coming out this month, January 2026, first one of the year. As always, let me know if there's something that I don't mention that you're really excited about. We got some cool releases this month. So we're going to go in order, starting off with the new releases on January 7th. We got Absolute Arc M Special 1.
If you notice, this is the DC one. The last one was Marvel. This is the DC info.
Is going to be diving into some origins of Arc M. Should be pretty cool. Written by Scott Snyder and Frank Thierry, and art by Josh Hickson, with 3 variants. Next up, we got Marvel Rivals, The Cities of Heaven. This one's coming out with 2 variants by Paul Allor and Michael Shelfer. I personally have not really been super into the Marvel Rivals comics. They're written to try to get some of the gamers that don't read into reading, so it's kind of like trying to bridge that gap. But, they're still a cool concept, so... Now for the releases on January 14th, we got Dungeons of Doom #1. This one's going to be releasing with 6 variants. We got a big creative team on this one. So co-written by Benjamin Percy and Philip Johnson, and then co-art by Carlos Mango, Robert Gill, and Justin Mason. This story directly takes place after the aftermath of One World Under Doom, which was a 9-issue limited series. So you can do a little synopsis, or if you read that, catch up, whatever it may be. But that's where this one's taking place. Next up, we got Null #1. This one is releasing with 10 variants by Tom Waltz and Juanan Ramirez. This story follows the weakened king who is trapped by an unlikely foe. They think that he's not really much because he's in a weakened state from his last death, but that's probably not going to be the case, or at least he'll get his strength back. I don't know. We'll see. The point is, we got a Null series. This is pretty cool. Then we got Logan, Black, White, and Blood. So this series drops with 4 variants by Saladin Ahmed and Adam Kubert. So this Black, White, and Blood series, if you don't know much about it, it kind of like follows history of these characters. So like it works through like major events that whatever character that's getting a title of this is going through. Really, really good.
That particular comic, this Logan, Black, Black, White, and Blood is going to be. It's a black and white comic, and it's issue 1 of that, and it's real. It's graphic novelish, and it's very unlike Marvel. Marvel's getting more into the graphic novels and starting to be a little bit more graphic. But they're showing a lot more blood and decapitations and different things like that. I wouldn't say you could so much so that you would have to put like a mature label on the comic or anything like that. But Marvel's leaning way, way more toward the graphic stuff, and I have one as well called the Substance on Corner Store, Comic Book Corner. Listen to me, Corner Store Comics. I don't know. I get those names confused all the time, so when I say it, just don't think I'm an idiot. I got so much corner this and corner that because my whole thing is corner store television. So, and there's a whole reason backstory around that. It's kind of self-explanatory when you really think about it, but yeah, but you know, basically, this Logan Black, White, and Blood series is going to be really, really dope. It's going to be really, really dope. Sorry for the noise, but somebody's pulling into their space. It's right next door, so that's the reason why you can hear this.
Artwork usually, like I think this cover is really nice. I think it's a great way to catch up on your knowledge of the character, or if you're trying to get into a character, you can really catch up to speed on their major events. Next up, we got Luna Snow World Tour. This one's releasing with 4 variants, written by Greg Pak and co-art by Takeshi Miyazawa and Audio Animdito. It's really about like her music, it seems like. So basically, it takes place after all those Doom events and whatnot. And another K-pop star, like she decides to go like into all the music world, and another K-pop star is on the rise and like basically stealing away her fans. And she's like got to like win her fans back and go into hero mode. That's what the description says. So should be pretty interesting. Okay, then by Dark Horse, we have Cyberpunk 2077 Chrome.
Cyberpunk.
This one is releasing with 3 variants. Crazy. Writer Doug Wagner, artist Tommaso Banato.
Now they're covering every freaking comic book genre. Dark Horse, I'm sure they got some Image stuff in here. I don't even know if Image still I'm pretty sure Image Comics is still around. But yeah, this is Dark Horse Cyberpunk. I didn't know that's where that came from. There's a game called Cyberpunk. I'm not sure if that's the same thing. This is the first time me ever hearing this.
I love when video games and different movie franchises and things like that get like an expanded universe through comics or just writing in general. Yeah. I think that's such a cool concept. I think this one's going to be cool. This one has something to do with like ghost hunting in Night City. Like they go to this place and they find like ghosts there and stuff. That doesn't delve much more into the description, but maybe they're like power up from it or something. But yeah. And we have Bloodland by Ignition Press. This is a pretty new publisher that doesn't have too many titles at the moment, but
Ignition Press. That's fucking dope. That's a hell of a name.
From what I've read from them, pretty cool. And they're doing a great job. Very nice art, good stories, cool concepts. This one is about like the United States falling, and then there's like vampires going about. I don't know. Seems pretty interesting. This one's releasing with 2 variants by B. Claymore and artist Mac Chatter. Moving on to the January 21st releases, we have Green Lantern Galactic Slam. It says Kyle Rayner brings the cosmic reinforcements as the KO tournament rages on Earth. This one's by Jeremy Adams and art by Cian Tormey, releasing with 4 variants. Next up.
Man, that is cool. Well, let me see this now. Oh, this is a Rogue. This is the last one I'm going to show you on this video, but this is a Rogue, Shadows of Tomorrow.
Some Shadows of Tomorrow releases. I'm pretty excited for most of these series. Definitely going to be picking up this Rogue One.
How cool is that? Rogue has her own title.
Valiant of you. Ill-advised.
Not ill-advised. Rogue has her own title, and there's a lot of cool stuff coming on out there. I hope this has been very informative for all the comic book enthusiasts like myself. I'm not into it as much as I'd like to be, but I wanted to have a content show to show my love of the genre as well as my love of creators, because this is a tough business to be in, to actually make any money, because there's only so many people There's a lot more people than you think that like comic books and like comic book films and things of that nature. But it's hard to start any business, let alone a business about art and about creativity, and pretty much fiction-based everything. So once again, I'd like to thank Mr. Roberto Gonzalez-Wilkes, the creator. God, I got to go back to this information. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure I talk about this young man and a great. Once again, let me go ahead and open this up because I can make it bigger. My eyes suck. Once again, I'd like to thank Mr. Roberto Gonzalez-Wilkes, artist that he has, Nakcase, Nakkase, his cover artist, Bosco. And I'd like to thank him at Fox Heart Comics. Fox Heart Comics. And you can find him on all the social media platforms. His name is at FOXOS777. That is Fox OS 777. Roberto Gonzalez Wilkes, and his titles, so you guys can know what you're looking for when you go looking. One of the titles is called Cyberman Origins. Cyberman Origins. And the other is going to be VINCOR Origins. VINCOR Origins. I'm a huge fan of this guy. I've been talking back and forth with his father now for a good while, since last year, 2025. It's only been like maybe 2-3 months since we've been corresponding. They're based in Florida. Thank you guys for letting me share the world with your son's work. And man, Comic Book Corner, man. I never thought I'd have a show like this. I don't do as many episodes as I should. Bill Collector. I don't do as many episodes as I should, but I'm going to start doing more. I promise you on that, because I'd like to share more of what I'm doing. And I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. And I want to thank everybody who came on the live stream today, as well as the creator's father. And I don't know if the creator was here. He probably was. It was like, this show sucks. But I hope, hopefully he's appreciative of me talking about him and talking about what they're trying to do. And with that said, this has been another episode of Comic Book Corner. I'll let y'all, hey, stay blessed.